And so now we're really setting out to broaden that into Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. And those are very big areas where we see a lot of optimism, a lot of momentum. And so we also see our pipeline and our order book now showing more of these projects.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. Joining me is Ixico CEO Bram Gordon. Bram, very good to speak with you. Could you summarize the key highlights from your second half trading update, please?
Sure. Hi, Stephen. Thanks for having me. We said today that we're going to land 6.3 million as revenues for the full year 2025. You may remember that our first half was quite successful. We actually reported 26% increase then compared to 2024. So the current guidance is a 5% uplift or upgrade compared to our previous guidance. It's a 9% increase compared to 2024. Obviously, we'll keep pushing to get that to a double-digit growth number, and which, as you may remember, we did a capital raise. So from a cash perspective, we're quite cash rich, I would say, as a company, but obviously we're putting that money to work, and that's why you see those numbers. So I think a pretty healthy financial state.
Bram, what was the driver of that second half growth?
I would say pretty much the same as the first half. So we see a continuation there of the strategy, which you may remember, which is innovate, lead, scale. And that has a lot to do with especially diversification of our portfolio. Ixico is very well known for obviously the neuroscience space. That is the area in which we operate, but very much also that rare neurodegenerative disease space, for example, Huntington's disease, which is our bread and butter. And so now we're really setting out to broaden that into Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. And those are very big areas where we see a lot of optimism, a lot of momentum. And so we also see our pipeline and our order book now showing more of these projects. So that is one. The second one is a scope extension, which has to do with our thought leadership, where we really deepen the collaboration with existing clients, where we dig deeper into specific patient characteristics, biomarkers, salvaging some of these trials, because obviously that is very much the name of the game in pharma as well. And then the third one is what I call the multimodality, which is broadening into other verticals. And you may remember that in June, we announced that we had been instrumental in helping Fujirebio to get their blood-based biomarker approval in the FDA in the US. That was the first Alzheimer's blood-based biomarker test. And so for us, this represents also the start of serving a whole new type of customers, and our expectations that we'll continue doing that.
And what can we expect to see from Ixico for the remainder of full year 2025 and into 2026?
Yeah, so at the risk of sounding boring, I was going to say more of the same again, although that's not entirely true. I think we've just embarked on that trip of really making sure that we go much deeper into Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Obviously, that's a long-term strategy. And so you should stay on the watch out to see more of those wins. And obviously also an order book that starts to show a big proportion in those disease areas. But then in addition, we will continue also what we set out to do as partnerships with our technology platform. So one of the things that we've given ourselves as a goal is to have at least one important data partnership, which means that we want to play with a big data partner and start to put our platform to play also to different customer types. So that is something to watch out for. And then other than that, I think the expansion, of course, as you know, we've also invested in footprint expansion in the US, and the expectation is that we will see more wins then also from that arena.
Well, I hope you'll continue to keep us updated with your progress. Thank you very much for the time today.
Thank you.
Bram Gordon, CEO of Ixico.